Hello everyone, this is Ben with Stringer Ridge Farm. I'm sure just like the rest of North America, we've just gone through probably one of the worst cold snaps we've had, at least in recent history, where we had, for our area, significantly colder, longer than I can ever remember. So we had, I think, 4 nights that we got down into the low 20s, so 20 to 22 degrees. And we had entire days where we didn't get above freezing. Extremely abnormal for our area. And it's kind of forced a few anomalies when it comes to our grazing practices and what we're doing to get through this winter. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about something we've always noticed with farming, ranching, or pretty much anything in life is you got to be adaptive. You got to deal with what comes your way and just kind of always plan to move forward from where you're at. So you do lots of pre-planning, but then you may have to adapt and adjust what you're doing. So if y'all remember this field, this is what I call the spoil field. What I'm planning to do is, this is probably the 3rd year we've had it in production, and I've seen probably 100-fold improvement in this field. So I'm going to show you kind of an example of what we have. So I took a spade, shovel, and I dug a couple soil out. Now this is a little bit biased because, I don't know if you can see, there's sod on the top of this. I just took a shovel scoop. But this field was all this yellow clay, probably the thickest, heaviest clay I've experienced in my life. My tractor disc can't cut this. The spoons on my aerator won't penetrate it. And this was all the way up to the soil surface. You could actually see it exposed in a lot of places. Grass would not grow. And this was all that spoil fill that the parish put in our field when they dredged out the river prior to us buying this land. But this is basically the soil we're dealing with on this entire field, and it is, texturally, it's trash. Now I'm going to post a photo of the soil sample I got, but this is after 3 years. So this clump, this side, this is, if you look right here, I got a little valve. This is where I had a water tank for almost 2 years, and it has completely changed the soil. I've got crumbly, dark, black, well textured. I'm going to say it goes down about 10 or 12 inches. It's improved it, but once you kind of see this line of demarcation, that's about 8 or 9 inches right there. It's penetrated down and improved the soil. And I've got this similar in all my high impact zones. So I see this where I've got water troughs. I see it where I put hay rings. You can see there's one right out there, and there's lots of manure and that's there, and it's greatly improved the soil. Now I've still got an issue with this field where I'm still not getting the production out of it, and I need to renovate this field. I would like to do minimum tillage, but I think my options are pretty limited with that, because I do need to do a little bit of leveling, because I've got some low spots, some old stump holes, some different things where I do need to actually work this field to be able to plant it, especially like our future plans are we're gonna do crops, annuals, winter and summer annuals, but I'd prefer to do them no-till if we can ever find us a secondhand no-till drill that we can afford. But for now, I'm kind of looking for some options if anybody's got ideas of what we can plant in the spring. So like I said, coldest winter in a long time. I'm thinking about planting this in the spring. So instead of putting our cows through a couple of our other fields, I think what I'm going to do is, this is about a 20-acre field. I'm going to break it up into about 10 little paddocks. I think I normally have it in 8, but I'm gonna do 10, and I'm gonna rotate them through here with feeding them hay and whatever else I can get my hands on, if we can go harvest a little bit of some of our other crops. But basically feed them hay and a little bit of feed as a supplement, and keep them on this field and get a heavy manure and urine load to prepare to plant something in the spring. So I may keep them on this pasture for 4 to 6 weeks, which kind of goes against what I would normally do. But I think I'm at a point where I'm pretty certain I'm going to renovate this field in the spring, and then I'll plant something. I don't know what that'll be, but you can kind of see the soil we're dealing with. I'd say the majority of it's still that heavy clay. Doesn't drain very well, and then when it dries out, it gets hard like concrete. You'll see cracks all the way to the surface, big enough to fit half your arm in. So I'm looking for something that I can plant that'll thrive on that. Now there will be a lot of nutrient loading. So for an example, you can kind of see over here, while we're in that real cold weather, I put several hay bales in the downwind side of this patch of trees, so the animals would have a nice secure place out of the wind and some nice thick bed of hay for them to bed in. And this is the result. You end up where they eat most of the hay, but there's a heavy manure load here. So even though the soil is pretty poor, I think we'll have some pretty good nutrients in the ground. So if we can get it worked, leveled a little bit, and then get a crop planted, I think we can get a lot of good use out of this field. So that's kind of my goal, and I'm just looking for some thoughts and ideas of what we can plant. Maybe when's the best time to do that. And it needs to be able to grow pretty fast, can be grazed hopefully multiple times by the cows, and then maybe there's some kind of native grass residual left at the end. Or maybe we just continue and we plant multiple crops a year, where you plant something in the spring for summer grazing, and then something in the fall like ryegrass from winter grazing, and break up our land like that, where we have a couple of fields of native warm season grasses and a field or two that we do like this, where we're constantly planting annuals or cover crops, whatever you want to call them. But at any rate, it's just a good opportunity that, like I said, the weather kind of impacted our normal plan to go through winter, and I've got this field that I'm really looking to renovate and improve. So to me, it seemed like the perfect time to kind of change what I'm doing, be a little bit adaptive, try to get a good nutrient load on this field in anticipation of planting something that'll be highly useful for the cows and for the ground next year. And then hopefully thereafter we can keep planting stuff with minimal tillage type applications. So if anybody has any thoughts, ideas, I'm open to suggestions. It's amazing how much you can learn from people who have done these things before. I'll keep you guys updated as we go through the rest of this winter, and what we plan to do in the spring and summer. So like I said, y'all have a good day, and catch y'all on the next one.